Hello and welcome everyone to AARP Wyoming's Video Voter Guide series for 2024. I'm Tom Laycock with AARP Wyoming, and today we're joined by Gail Symons, who is running for the Wyoming Legislature in House District 30, located in Sheridan County. AARP has a proud 40-year history of nonpartisan voter engagement and does not endorse or oppose candidates, nor does AARP make contributions to political campaigns or candidates at any level. Instead, we ask questions so our AARP members understand where candidates stand on issues important to older adults and can make their own decisions on Election Day. Today, we'll ask Ms. Symons 3 questions allowing for a 1-minute and 30-second response to each. Then we'll give Ms. Symons 2 minutes to make her final pitch to the voters of House District 30. So Ms. Symons, here is our first question. Over the last 2 years, the Wyoming Legislature has made providing property tax relief for its citizens a priority. In your view, what's the most effective way to provide relief while balancing revenue needs for our schools, counties, and other entities that rely on property tax to maintain stable funding?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the acknowledgement on the critical services that property tax funds. In Sheridan, that includes services to seniors like Little Goose Transit that both the county and city help to fund. So that's very important to the seniors and the citizens here. First, we must pass the ballot initiative in November that amends the Constitution to have residential property in a separate category. Any further relief efforts from what we did earlier this year are going to be hampered without approval of that constitutional amendment. Next, I'd like to know what the financial impact has been of the 2024 measures. I want to know the tax revenues that were decreased by county. I also want to know the number of residents provided relief by the county. So we have a feel for, have we reached the people who need this the most, and how much has been the impact. I also want to say I'm favorable to the Representative Lawley bill that allows homeowners to voluntarily request a tax lien that is payable upon sale or estate settlement of that home. This addresses the concerns about unrealized gains, where the increase in value of the home is not matched by an increase in income. And it's only limited in the amount of equity available and not held back by the age of the homeowner, the length of residency, or income. So it's kind of complex, but I think it's a real opportunity for homeowners and residential taxpayers to kind of take ownership of how they can deal individually with the tax burden.
Our second question for today. Wyoming's population of those aged 60 and over grew by 47% from 2010 to 2020, while the state's entire population grew just 2%. We know 64% of all nursing home beds in the Wyoming are paid for right now by the state Medicaid program. What do you see as the greatest barrier to helping our older adults age in their homes and communities? And what solutions would you provide?
So speaking of home, this really hits home for me. I was fortunate that I was able to arrange for home assistance for both my parents who lived in this home. I bought it from them in 2010, I think it was. I hired a live-in caregiver for my dad who lived downstairs while mom was at Westview. And then after a year of her being there, I was able to make alterations to the house to make it accessible for her. She was in a wheelchair at that point. And then hired off-duty CNAs so I could bring mom home. So this is really near and dear to my heart. And it made a big difference in the quality of life of my parents who did not want to leave their home. So first barrier is resources, availability for both medical and non-medical in-home assistance. Depending on the condition of the resident, maybe they just need help. It might be daily, it might be live-in, but that availability of finding people who can do that is one. The next is resource available for the physical barriers, especially in older homes where there's limited mobility with canes, walkers, and wheelchairs. Because of the cost of aging at home being so much less, I'd like to look to see if the savings to Medicaid could be used to offset those costs. And then finally, the Home Fit program is a joint effort by VA and AARP that's funding for both veterans and their caregivers to actually make their homes accessible. So that's rolling out now.
Thank you. Our final question for today. Emergency medical services are not considered an essential service in Wyoming, and in some areas, ambulance services do not have sustainable funding sources. Over the last 10 years, Wyoming has seen 16 emergency medical service providers in the state fold or consolidate with another service. What solutions would you offer for ensuring access to ambulance services?
Well, first, I believe that EMS should be considered an essential service in the same category as police, sheriff, and fire protection, and thus should be available and covered by public funding. There was a bill to provide for EMS special districts that I believe did not pass. That would allow residents in the district to self-tax for necessary services through mill levies. This could also provide funding when approved. In Sheridan, we've got a regional EMS that's a joint effort between the counties, Campbell County and Sheridan County, their municipalities and their hospitals. With just a single administration, the cost of services is contained. If we could replicate this in other regions, it would also extend service. Now, again, using my own example, this home is 8 miles out of town. My dad had a health emergency with a seizure that he had, and we had immediate service from our EMSs. So having that be available for seniors who are particularly dependent upon that because of their increasing inability to drive around on themselves or get to healthcare, but it's also necessary for regular residents. So this is an area that we really have to consider an essential public service.
Thank you, Ms. Symons, for being a good sport and answering our questions today. Now let's give you 2 minutes to explain to the voters of House District 30 why you're the candidate for the job.
So thank you. So my family has been here for 4 generations, and I see comments about, in conversations and on Facebook about long-term residents and not accepting people. And I don't think that's true. I think what really makes people Wyoming is their willingness to come here, whether it's been 2 months ago or 20 years ago, to say, we're Wyoming now, and take on being a good citizen, being involved in the community, volunteering, meeting their neighbors, and really doing what they can to improve the area, both the county and the state, as much as possible. So I think that that's really critical. I know that one of the benefits of being retired here, because I do fall under the AARP seniors, is being able to be a part of the Rotary and doing volunteer work through that, from working with Sheridan County cattle women, with the Sheridan Chamber of Commerce, and really getting to understand the people who are here. So my tagline is that I am practical, involved, and decisive. I want to have the citizens of Sheridan feel like they can come to me, that that their voice will be heard, that while I will be paying attention to what's important to them and represent their needs, their concerns down in the legislature. Because it is our local legislators, county commissioners, and city council that really make a difference in people's lives. And so listening to them and understanding them and being committed to making their concerns the greatest is very important to me. So when people ask my background, I tell them I am a veteran. I'm a Navy veteran. I have a background in business. I'm in ranching, and I'm a volunteer.
Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Symons, for your time today, and thank you to our viewers for joining us in this video voter's guide. We encourage you to keep checking Cowboy State Daily and AARP Wyoming's Facebook page for more video voter guides in the days to come.